what else can I say? It's been a tremendous year, and thanks to everybody for all the good for ideas and the good spirit and patience with this thing. You can see who it is: Lake Como, Point Pleasant Beach, Belmar Environmental Commissions, Red Bank Animal Welfare Committee has been doing this, and Point Pleasant Environmental Commission. Those are the newbies there. Okay, so just just to remind everybody what the Patchwork for Wildlife does is is we encourage residents to make environmental improvements in their yards, including habitat and food for wildlife and pollinators. Okay, and the the aim is to create an acre of eco-friendly land 1 yard at a time. This is all on private property, sometimes commercial, but not government property. Okay. And it leads from the community. And we award people for things that they do uh, a lot. And we don't do anything negative. Okay. Now, here's the program. It looks like a lot, but it's a bunch of little bitty bits. Okay. Um, we're going to look at sustainable maintenance this year. Look at the multi-town patchwork, which is what we've been working on to make it work for more than one town, not just Lake Como. And then we'll give out the certificates of appreciation, and then we'll have a look at the online map, which has been the two towns have been added, and then Caitlin will be kind enough to make some summary remarks. So that's it. Okay, so we'll get started. Now, the sustainable maintenance on January 1st, if you asked me if we were going to do sustainable maintenance, it was well out of my world. But Diane got in touch with me and she asked that question, where can I find a landscaper who does sustainable maintenance? Well, I got in touch with everybody I knew and I couldn't find anybody. And meantime, Diane found this guy, Richard McCoy, who spent like something like 10 years um, developing his landscaping company from a conventional one to an eco-friendly landscaping company, going over to all electric and all this sort of stuff. So Belmar and Lake Como got together, had a couple of talks, one by Richard McCoy on eco-friendly maintenance when was that, in July. And
Yes.
that was really well received. It was fantastic. And I want to thank Richard. I don't know if he's here, but thank you. Okay, so then in the meantime, I said, wait a minute, what is sustainable maintenance? And what I did is I walked around Candide's garden. I said, well, wait a minute, what do we do in Candide's garden? Well, we do sustainable maintenance. So I made a list of everything we do in Candide's garden and a whole lot of things like how we deal with weeds, how we deal with water, how we, how we deal with mulch and all this sort of stuff. And I made a checklist. And that's the thing that we will give to homeowners to say, okay, here's what you can do. Okay. And that led to the workshop we held at Candide's Garden, where I walked everybody around. There's Diane uh, introducing it. And we walked everybody around and showed them all the things we do in Candide's Garden. And it was interesting. And one person at the end of it says, you know what? I walked around listening to you, and everything I'm doing is wrong. I said, oh, come on. It can't be that bad, really. But anyway, so so from that comes what we're asking people to do is people to try out some of the measures in the checklist. Not all of them. Try one thing, whatever. Get a rain barrel, whatever. And but then if if you use a landscaper, to select a landscaper who offers some measures on the checklist. And please refer that firm back to us, and we'll create a register and we'll promote them. And I think we may have one on the register already, so that would be cool, wouldn't it? And then you get recognized for it with a certificate and a yard sign, and we encourage people to display the yard sign and enlist their neighbors. Okay, so that's where sustainable maintenance came up like a dust storm out of nowhere, and it's now was became the theme for this year, and some couple other towns have started in on it already. Now, I just have a big thank you here because I've been doing this for about 4 years, okay, and and in a one town, pretty much one person with some help with Eric and Janice and Dr. Weber and so on. But when we introduced two more towns, Belmar and Point Pleasant Beach, everything became more complicated because we had to specify things more exactly. We developed these patchwork guides. We developed an annual cycle now. We started focusing on pilot yards and we adopted the workshop format, which we've tried out now on Point Pleasant. So we'll hear whether it worked or not, but that came from the work that, especially Red Bank and Belmar, it worked out really well. And we wrote an elevator statement, which was needed. We developed a cheat sheet because we up in Red Bank, we went to a couple of houses, and one of them gave us homemade ice cream, and the another one gave us biscottis and iced tea. And but then we forgot to do the areas and to take the photographs. So we said, wait a minute, we got to go visit a place once. So we had a cheat sheet. Says, this is what you got to do when you got, and so on. And to develop the trifold leaflets, that came out of Point Pleasant Beach. They started it off because they said we need a simple leaflet. That went, Red Bank did their version, and then Belmar, Natalie, did a version that she made it so that everybody could use it. So anyway, these are the kinds of things. And we clarified the things and we're describing now how we manage the yard signs, how people can care for their yard signs because we don't want to throw away, and so on. And we did the checklist, and we've begun to conceive a way for the towns for us all to work together because the synergy is amazing. I'm the main one who sees it. I want everybody else to see it as well. Okay, so anyway, thank you so much. It's been a real struggle to go from a single town to now 5 towns. But this is all the stuff that had to happen, and there's more to come, I say. So anyway, let's go on to the certificates of appreciation. We have veterans, in their second year. We're in our fourth year, I guess, and a fifth year, and the rookies, Point Pleasant and Red Bank. So I'll, we'll start out with Lake Como, okay? And there were 4 things here, piggybacking borough processes and planning and instruction, street trees, certificates, and sustainable maintenance. So if Dr. Weber, I see you there, yes. Dr.
Yes.
Weber led the charge on trying this out, see if we could get piggyback onto existing borough processes and see if we could develop something that other people might be able to use.
Yeah, we had talked to the planning board and some other building people, and they weren't real enthusiastic. So they finally decided that we, as Patchwork for Wildlife or the Environment Lake Como Environmental Commission, could set up a checklist, information list, and put it with their packet of information that people get when they build their houses in town. And so we're working on it. So far, it's going pretty good. And we give them information about minimal grass, so you don't have to use a lot of fertilizer. About having areas for gardens, vegetable gardens, trees if you have it, have the space, and you just want to expand your lawn as best you can in order to improve the whole town. And we've gotten some good feedback, so we're still working on it, and we're going to see how it works.
Well, thank you. Yes, and I can report that I have three houses where people who are going to want to talk to us in the spring when they start their landscaping. So
Right.
that's a start. Okay,
Mhm.
so it's a way of finding candidate yards. So if we'll move on to street trees, they we we've always said we've wanted to give out certificates who plant native trees. Okay, but then uh, uh, Janice got a hold of it, and she was very interested in street trees. And perhaps you want to describe your efforts and some of the success you're having with the street trees thing.
Thanks, John. We rebuilt our house 7, almost 8 years ago. And in the process, we had a tree that was badly damaged by Sandy. Not a street tree, but it was in our front yard and it was badly damaged by Sandy. And the insurance company wanted to take it down. We wanted to keep it. We worked on it for a long time. But when we did
I just got myself out of there. Okay.
when we started to do the construction, we had to take it down. And the only place we could put a new tree up, we could put a small dogwood in our yard, but we wanted to put a tree at the street. And the town said, oh, you can't do that right now, but we're working on it. In 6 months, you'll be able to do that. Every 6 months, I'd go over and ask, and they'd say, we don't quite have it together.
Yeah.
So,
You talking about which town?
Lake Como.
Lake Como.
So finally, I started going to coffee with the mayor. Victoria went to a couple of them with us. John, I think, was at one or two, and kept talking to the mayor about street trees until he insisted that he really likes trees. He just doesn't like little trees. And why don't I come up with something with the Environmental Commission? So we did that, and I did a presentation to the Environmental Commission, and we tweaked that a little bit. And I was invited to do a presentation on planting street trees to the council. And we put together a presentation, and with Eric's help and with Victoria putting some slides together for us, that if I could easily show them to you now, I would. But we did a comparison of the tree cover in Lake Como about 10 years ago, and then what it was like 2 years ago, both in August. And we probably lost about 40% of our tree cover in that amount of time. And it was clear when they saw those pictures that we needed to do something. Now, that wasn't all street trees, but still it was the amount of cover that we lost. And in a town with such tiny lots, even building within code, there's not a lot of space left in property to put up a lot of trees. So that little planting strip in the front of the houses really becomes a significant opportunity. So we put that together as a presentation for the town, and I wrote a sample, I guess it was not an ordinance, but sample code that the town could use with recommendations in it. And while they didn't accept it that way, they did finally decide to establish a shade tree commission. So there were the 2 votes that approved it this fall, and the shade tree commission will be established in January. They haven't made any decisions yet on who will be on that commission. If any of you would like to join, I'm sure they would be very happy to get some names. But in the meantime, I there's some really active shade tree commissions in a couple local towns. And I met with the people from Manasquan, went to a couple of their meetings, they were extremely helpful. Sid Wally in Spring Lake is on the town council, but the representative to the Shade Tree Commission. And I met with her. She came over, made me very detailed lists of things that we do. And there's actually a lot of opportunity with it and a lot of money. Our biggest issue, now that we have it in place, obviously some money, but I think there's opportunities to get that. One of the really big issues in Lake Como is through most of the town, our planting strips are very narrow. So we need to find trees that we can plant in very narrow planting strips under the unbelievable amount of overhead wires that we have. For such a small town, we are covered with wires. So those will be 2 challenges for us, but I think getting the commission in place is obviously a huge first step. And once we have that, right, people, we can make a lot of things happen here. It's going to be slow the first year or 2, but I think once we get going, we can make a lot happen. So that's finally a step in the right direction. So if any of you live in Lake Como and are interested or know somebody that might be interested, let me know, because I'm right now working with our Environmental Commission liaison on getting ideas together and trying to move this forward to get started in January.
Well, thank you very much. That's tremendous, but actually getting that thing going, and I can look forward to we're planting for the future, I think, where we can start giving out certificates to people and starting to publicize the thing a lot more. Well, fantastic. Well, okay. The next thing is we'll give out our Lake Como certificates, and the theme about it is harvesting upgrades. Okay, because I did not have a lot of time this year to beat the bushes and so on. But funny thing happened. It still happened because people who already had certificates were doing improvements, and it's a known thing that if you own a company that a lot of that the majority of your business comes from existing customers, and the idea of getting a lot of certificates out there is basically that once you get people on the game board, maybe they can make a move and make it easier. It's easier to work with the people you have than to create a whole lot of a new perimeter, as it were. So this is these were some updates with people who didn't move up to the next level, but who added more stuff to their yards. And Marion's been doing great things. She just like as far as sustainable maintenance, she just skips the composting step and she chucks scraps right directly onto her veggie bed, and she has vegetables to die for. I don't know. And it's amazing how she does that. And she's rewilding her lawn, which you can see in the middle there. And I just made one piece of advice: put a little fence around it so it looks like makes she understood that it's a planted bed, so there's no height restriction. And she had a wonderful crop of Queen Anne's lace. Um, Peter and Mary Ventris, he's their council liaison. They added another native petunia, and they've got another one coming. So they're starting a petunia bed, you see, which is very nice for a counselor to be helping out, you know.
Yep.
And Rochelle and we got more into the sustainable maintenance with Rochelle and Rusty with electric leaf blower. Eric and Janice do that, plus a
I'm
lot of
leaving
other
this.
stuff.
I can put it on so you can hear your television.
I think somebody's talking.
Yeah, I think Cheryl, I know Cheryl is, if you could put yourself on mute, we keep hearing your background. Thanks.
Okay. And Carissa Alter just bought a new composter. So good for her. Plus a lot of other stuff. We'll come to that. Okay. So thank you very much for just continuing to improve
Did you
things.
see it?
Then there's
Up on the screen?
some upgrades where on the left.
Don, I'm gonna just mute everybody right now, and then you can unmute yourself if it's your turn to talk.
Can you do that?
He's muting it.
Yeah.
John, you need to unmute yourself.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, I unmuted. Okay. So here's the ones that were upgraded at the same time. Steve over here is doing some interesting thing. He's an engineer. And so he diverted his dehumidifier to the veggie bed. So he's conserving water. At our demonstration workshop, he described how he uses his electric mower, and he only mows what's there, and he's got basically a total crabgrass lawn. And if you don't look too closely, it looks just like a lawn. So he doesn't do anything to it. And Diane here, I didn't get to her before it got too cold, but she has no lawn in front. She has a mostly native planted bed. She has a side bed with veggies and native plants. So these two have moved from entry to beneficial level. So thank you very much. And here's a 2-for-1. Rebecca Gardner and Monty Geis over on Briarwood. They on the house on the left, they have a new planted bed with a plum cherry tree. They added 2 pitch pines in the rear, and and in 1815 on the right, they have a butterfly garden in the front, and they added 4 volunteer red cedars in the rear. So they've moved up from just having 2 things to having a number of different things. So thanks a lot, Rebecca and Monty. And then these are totally new from entry level. Mike and Maria Keene, they have a planted bed with natives, and he demonstrated his push mower at the workshop, and he's doing a lot of sustainable maintenance. Nancy Nazar planted new butterfly milkweed plants. Sorry, that's from the web. It was too late in the fall to photograph her milkweed, butterfly milkweed. Elizabeth Ohms has planted 3 native plants in her hedge. Um, Larry and Diane Hawk, they have a planted bed in front and a semi-pervious path down the side. And Charlie Manolio has a planted bed and has done a lot of sustainable maintenance. I'll show you. And then Latita Burke has done sustainable maintenance. So thank you very much. They're on the game board now, and we look forward to them making some improvements. So now the last item, the sustainable maintenance itself. And I thought I'd try something because time was getting on, and I wanted to see just what we could do in Lake Como. So I did a poll. We have a contacts list, a list of about 300 people in Lake Como, and I sent it out to everybody. And I had a fairly simple version of it. There's the items on it there. Okay, I said, do you do any of these things? And here's what came back. This is amazing. Okay, you see across the top, leaving clean up till the spring, reinvesting the leaves and using them as mulch, reinvesting your branches and using them for various purposes. The taking care of weeds, I'll come back to that, and composting, managing the water with rain barrels and not overwatering, all that sort of thing. What kind of equipment you use, hopefully it's electric or hand, and whether you have toxic sprays. And down the side, I've put what stage these people are at. But looking at it very generally, the people who came back, most of them, except maybe the 3 down the bottom here, were already had certificates. They were already doing it. And the most of them were doing really, really good things already. So the conclusion out of this comes is that people who do and have an environmental yard pretty much are doing sustainable maintenance along with it. So they're not the problem. What we need to look at, I think, is more with the ones who use landscapers, and it's very difficult to change that, and that's going to be a long-term thing. But that's what I was referring to earlier when we said let's start a register of landscapers who will do this stuff, and I think that that's pretty much it. The weeds thing is I didn't have that in the original list, and if people don't do nasty sprays, then they probably aren't doing nasty sprays on their weeds, but they probably haven't realized yet that they can use the weeds as mulch. Okay, and that would if anybody on that list uses weeds as mulch, let me know, and you get a dark green. Okay, because that's a fabulous source of nutrients for the garden is the weeds. So anyway, that's it. Thank you very much for answering. And you can see it's a good news thing that a lot of people are doing a lot of these things. So well done. So now,
John,
yeah.
one quick question before you move on. There's a request for a downloaded copy of the checklist for sustainable maintenance. So if you could either distribute it to people from the meeting or make it available online so that anyone can go get it, that would be appreciated.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. In fact, the more the merrier, please. And if you can do something, we're really beseeching people to you know to take this on board and see if we can make it work. Okay. I mean, I hope Mary isn't going to tell the story up in Red Bank. She had to chase her landscaper down the street and have him get put the leaves back onto her yard because she couldn't get it through to them that they weren't supposed to blow the leaves out to the curb. She chased them down the street. So that's what we're up against, folks. Anyway, so for the veteran, so let's start on with Point Pleasant Beach. Okay, now.
I'm Cindy Kells. I am a member of the Environmental Commission and, of course, the Patchwork for Wildlife program. First, I want to thank our mayor and council in town for supporting this wonderful program. Also, I want to send out a huge thank you to my team members. I have MJ Gradell, Carrie Mulkeen, Louise Stillifson, Kathy Niffen, and Ann Lightburn, amongst other people also. Also, John, a huge thank you. Happy birthday, because without you, this wonderful program would not exist and we would not be here today. So thank you. Also, welcome to the newcomers and also Red Bank, Belmar, and Lake Como. I'm thrilled to be working with everyone for this great cause. So we have in Point Pleasant Beach a wonderful group of participants this year. We evaluated 12 yards. We have 4 entry levels, 5 beneficial levels, and 3 distinctive yards that we evaluated. So first up is Jenny and Rich Akins on Briarcliff Avenue, and they received entry level. They were given a native plant and they have partially pervious walkways. So they're really thrilled to be part of the program, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do next year and in the years to come to update their yard and to add some great things. Next up is Chad and Melissa now of Prime 13. This is our first business, and we thought it would be a great idea to include businesses, maybe evaluate the library next year and the Borough Hall, the Board of Education. So we're thrilled that Chad and Melissa joined the program. They have some native plants. They also have a nice vegetable and herb garden behind their restaurant. So kudos to them, and I will be looking forward to seeing their upgrades as well. And John, can you go to the next page? Perfect. Oh, one back. There we go. Melissa and John Pasola were also awarded the entry level. They were given a native plant as well, and they also have partially pervious walkways around their home and a partially pervious driveway too. And then Ron Palikia on Water Street, he also received the entry level. He has coastal goldenrod, vegetable and herb garden, and a full pervious driveway. So you can see that in the picture there. So thank you to our entry level participants for this year. And John, if you that perfect. Now on to our beneficial recipients. First up, we have Sandy and Jack Pasola on Curtis Avenue. They have many native plants, no lawn, green mulch and ground cover. They also reinvest products of nature. They have extensive tree coverage, pervious walkways and driveways, a vegetable and herb garden, and a really nice wildlife sanctuary in their yard. Wow. And then actually friends of Sandy and Jack are Linda and Ron Crail. And they have many native plants in their yard, including echinacea, bayberry, salvia, evening primrose. They have green mulch and ground cover, a vegetable and herb garden, and they have a wildlife sanctuary. They have pervious walkways and driveways, and their yard is less than 50% impervious.
Wow.
Thank you, John. Next page.
Okay.
Great. We also awarded Kim and Tim Allen. They have a great home right on Ocean Avenue, so it's literally a block away from the beach. So many native plants, including a lot of keystone pollinators, such as coastal goldenrod. They also have pollinator habitats and extensive common milkweed areas. They have green mulch, composting area, maximum pervious surfaces, no lawn, and a full pervious driveway. They also reinvest products from nature. So that was really, really nice to see, which because it's so close to the beach.
Wow.
And then we have Kathy Toohey and Courtney Bixby on River Avenue. They were also given the beneficial award. They have some native plants, including black-eyed Susans, echinacea. They have a vegetable and herb garden, a pollinator habitat, a wildlife sanctuary, and natural pest deterrents, including citronella and lemongrass plants, which was real nice. They had that underneath their, like a little sitting area, which was perfect. Next page, John, if you don't mind. Perfect. And then our last beneficial awardees are Georgia and EJ Geiger on Arnold Avenue. They have native plants, a full pervious walkway and driveway, coastal goldenrod, a pollinator habitat. They also reinvest products of nature. You can see that in the third picture there. They have winter preservation for spring usage, and they have natural repellents as well. So thank you to all of our beneficial level participants. And then John, perfect. Now on to our distinctive level awardees. First up is Clem Bremer. He's on New Jersey Avenue. He has well over 70% native plants. And as you can see from all of the pictures, extensive shade tree coverage. His backyard was amazing with the trees. So we were thrilled to award him the distinctive level. He has a man-made bubbler, which he collects the rain and then has his own irrigation system, which was really cool to see. He reinvests products from nature, and he has fall cleanup for spring usage and a partially pervious driveway.
Wow.
And Joan Crow on Philadelphia Avenue, she also lives very close to the beach. And we also learned a fun fact about her. She is a master gardener. So we were thrilled to have her jump on board the program. But her yard consists of many native plants and perennials, milkweed, coreopsis, false indigo. She has a full pervious driveway and walkway, vertical vegetable and herb gardens, a wildlife sanctuary, a composting area, pollinator habitats, a rain barrel, and a really nice greenhouse in the back of her yard. So thank you to Joan. And then our last distinctive level recipients are Penny and Gary Mecca. And they have also over 70% native plants, a partially pervious walkway and driveway. They have a lot of shade trees, many river birches in their yard, a wildlife sanctuary, a pollinator habitat, a vegetable and herb garden. They reinvest products from nature. They also have keystone pollinators, a composting area, and a rain barrel. So thank you to all of our distinctive level participants. So as everybody can see, we had a wide array of participants this year in Point Pleasant Beach with wonderful yards. Thank you all for being committed to making a positive impact on our environment through creating eco-beneficial landscapes and for maintaining wildlife-friendly habitats. And our committee and team members, we look forward to seeing what will come in progress. Thank you, John.
Fantastic. Well done. Okay. Oh, there's everybody. Okay, now do I need to share my screen again? Yeah, it's pause. Okay. Let me pull up Belmar's, see if we can work the same magic again. Okay, and share my screen. If this works, this will be. Can everybody see this?
Yes.
Oh, well, okay.
Yep.
Let's go then. Diane and Natalie, you there?
Yes, yes. You hear us? I'm
Yes.
Diane Blue. I'm from the Belmar Environmental Commission, and this is Natalie Wass.
Hi.
And she's been working with us on this project, providing tech support and inspiration and ideas. I'd like to also thank Caitlin Donovan, who's been a really great advocate for us. She's on our council and she's here tonight, and she's been just wonderful for us. So we really appreciate all that you do, Caitlin. It's our second year for Belmar, so we have identified a group of yards that we're going to show you tonight. But two things I think that we learned this year that I want to share. One is that people really appreciate when you thank them for the good things they're doing in their yard, the joy and they don't get a lot of like positive feedback, I think, as they should. But when we gave it to them, it was just really wonderful to be able to thank them and recognize what they're doing. People have really great intentions and they put a lot of effort into some of this. So it's really nice to be able to share how much we appreciate it as a community. And secondly, I think we as a community need some work to be done in be able to identify native plants. Because as much as we advocate for native plants, a lot of homeowners are not familiar with native plants, and a lot of the nurseries don't stock native plants, and a lot of landscapers don't necessarily provide them. So I think for us, that's a goal for the upcoming year to do more to share information about how to identify and the benefits of native plants. The Native Plant Society is a great resource, and we're working on that with our Shade Tree Commission as well. So those are the two things that I wanted to share. I do appreciate learning from you all too. I thank you to Point Pleasant Beach. You got some wonderful inspiration there for us. So thank you so much for sharing. You want to show the first slide, John, please? So this is an entry-level yard, 1705 Surf Avenue, and they have a wild lawn with very minimal mowing. They only do a spring cleanup, and we know this because we spoke to the homeowners. So some of the sustainable maintenance practices we got from the homeowners. They let their yard rest throughout the winter. They have a vegetable plant, and you can see they have a wide variety of native plants growing in their yard. Next, please. This is 218 8th Avenue, and they recently planted not one, not two, but 5 trees on their lot. So we really appreciate what they're doing for the future. And I think, as was mentioned before, we also lost a lot of tree canopy from Sandy in our community as well. So we really need to reforest as best we can. And so we are working on that. Next, please. This is 605 8th Avenue. We awarded them a beneficial level. They have a reduced lawn. They have a shade tree. They have a pine tree and evergreen shrub, which provides wildlife habitat. And they also have a variety. We identified 6 different native plants in their yard. So they have a nice variety there. We do want to apologize to some of the pictures that were taken in the fall and promise to go back in the spring to show more of the plant growth in all of the yards. Next, please. This is 607 8th Avenue. They also have a reduced lawn. They have a very large established shade tree. They have a bird feeder and bath, and they also have native plants that we were able to identify in their yard. Next, please. 609 5th Avenue. They have no lawn. They have ground cover. They have a mature shade tree, and they have a variety of native plants. You can see a sign there for milkweed as well. So as I said, we're going to go back in the spring and get some spring photos to add to the collection. Next, please. This is 401 B Street. They have no lawn. They have a shade tree. They have a juniper bush, which provides wildlife habitat. And again, even in the fall, how beautifully varied the plant cover is. Next, please. Next, please, John.
I did. Is it 303 C Street?
Yep, I got it. 303 C Street. There it is.
Okay, good.
This is one of our beneficial level yards, and she does a wonderful job. I think she's on the call tonight, Nancy, but she has minimal lawn. She participates in No Mow May. They have a large shade tree. There's planting in the sidewalk strip, a large percentage of native plants. There's a vegetable patch in the back, compost bin, a rain barrel, a holly tree, monarch way station, and it's certified for wildlife habitat. So considering the amount of yard that she has, I am just amazed by how much wonderful, positive, environmentally feeding efforts, plants, and processes she shows there. So thank you very much. And that is our last yard.
Oh, that's it. Okay, well done. Okay, let's see. We'll go on to Point Pleasant, and let's see. I think Dennis or is Bill Young here? Do you want to share your screen?
Uh, this is Bill. I finally got on. It took a while. I have no
Oh,
idea. Yeah.
good to see you.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know what happened, but it took a while. Uh, so I have my PowerPoint. I didn't know that I was going to be presenting. I have my PowerPoint, so I can kind of wing it a little bit.
Sure.
Um, I'm looking for share screen though.
Can you share your down the bottom?
I'm looking for the
Bottom in the
front.
middle.
John,
And
you have to stop
I got it.
sharing.
I got it.
John, you have to stop sharing so he can
Okay.
share.
Yeah. I just sent the request, John.
Yes, allow. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. You're allowing, thank you for allowing me.
But you have to stop, John.
Any,
You have to stop sharing. Yeah, there you
well,
go.
it's okay. I did, and then
Okay.
yeah.
You
Okay.
got it? You can
Can
see it?
everybody see it? I can see it.
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you. I'm talking on behalf of Kate Nelson and Dennis Blazak of the Point Pleasant Environmental Commission. We're very excited and proud to be a part of this patchwork. So thank you, John, and everyone else for your inspiration. So we're sort of going to map out all the sites in Point Pleasant. We just started with some things we know. So this is Mike Romanowski, who's on the commission. He's got some planted beds. It used to be a sidewalk. A lot of it's natives. He kind of lets his lawn go. It's kind of naturalistic and it's very pervious. And so those weeds are very beneficial to a lot of insects. And his is entry. And then we go to Dennis Blazak, whose freaking front yard is an entire yard is a rain garden with like 20 species, all native, and all of his runoff is captured on the property. So it's distinctive and it's fantastic. And even his rear yard is pretty pervious. So really good to see. He's got a pollinator garden. He does composting and nobody in our group does any spraying or herbicides or fertilizer. We're really relying on Mother Nature, and it's really good to see. And here's some of his native plants. A lot of them are pollinator species, and there is just such great biodiversity in his front yard. So it's a great example that people can see you can go wild and it's allowed. It's okay. The third is beneficial 2331 Oriole Road. Kate, I forget her name. She's a master gardener, and her lawn is under like these seven oaks, and it's just like this moss, naturalistic, unmowed. It's not real like typical lawn. And she says it's a bird haven. Like she gets up in the morning and there's just 100 birds on her lawn. It's fantastic. She's got these big giant oaks. She's got planted beds, very pervious yard. She raises monarch butterflies. She has worm composting. She is an inspiration to us all. So she's just got some great diversity and really good to see. And this is her backyard, additional planting beds, and she's got the worm compost feature. Fantastic. This is the District of Fillory. We like this one because it's a commercial property right on Route 88. It's a member of our commission, and part of the parking lot is this kind of pervious patch with mulch and then stone. That's, some native plants, some not. We're going to add some more as we go, but it's a great example because its customers can see that even commercial businesses can go native. And then we have Kate Nelson, and this is a really cool yard. You can see the whole front yard is rocks and pebbles, so all the stormwater drains right into the ground. She's got some really large trees and some great wildlife features, vines and shrub beds and things like that. And just some good diversity and variety, vines, shrubs, and forbs in a very beautiful outdoor setting. And her husband uses a push mower, which inspired me to throw away my gas mower and go to a push mower. So good for him, and thank you for that. Then we have my house, which has got a lovely strand on the avenue of like 15 native tree species. I'm kind of in the industry, so you don't see some of these species. Tons of viburnums and dogwoods and willows and birches, and really good to see all native. And so we have great wildlife. For my little patch in Point Pleasant, you wouldn't believe the birds and the insects and pollinators that are all over there. A couple pollinator gardens. And then there's a patch that we don't mow. We're going to leave that and let it grow into like a meadow. So I kind of outlined it there. And then for our pool, we leave the pump where it doesn't drain all the water, so all the birds can have a bird bath and a feeding station. So I think I got beneficial. And we have this lady up the block, Robin Emerson, amazing. Her entire yard is pervious, even the walkways. She is a wildlife, like she's won all these awards from Wildlife Habitat Council and other entities. She's nominated this. Tons of there's all nations. She's got a fish pond that the hawks dive in, not knowing there's a net over there. They can't kill the fish. She's got a fish pond there. Giant trees, big sycamores and stuff like that. So really a great,
Look at that.
distinctive property that is really amazing. She's just got great diversity. So, and she's totally willing to have tours here, and she'll teach people because she has all these seeds and plants that she gives you. She gives me milkweeds all the time. So she's a real, real native gardener. And then we have Jeanette. I only have one photo, but you can see it's very nice. It's naturalistic. She leaves her leaves, no spraying, good renewal of nature's gifts like leaves and grass clippings and things like that. So I'm sorry, this is the only one I have. I think this is entry. And that's just my little thing about we're going to now promote this and say all these native shrubs and all this wildlife habitat that you can promote on our little patchwork for wildlife. So it's really exciting that we can initiate this. All right, thank you.
Wonderful.
I'm going to stop share, right?
Yeah, okay. And then Mary and Rec, thank you. That's wonderful. I'm glad you could make it too. We're very pleased that you could do it. Yeah. And Mary and Rex, do you want to share your screen and show us what the latest the latest is on Red Bank?
We're getting there.
Okay. I might mention that Marion, they started in January. They didn't have the fall to prepare. And so all has happened since January. And we were sitting on our hands waiting for spring to happen so we could get out there and start looking at some yards. So anyway, please carry on.
Okay. Well,
Wow.
thank you, John, and thank you, and hello to all my Patchwork community leaders. Look forward to working with you some more, and obviously all the homeowners that are on this call. Thank you and congratulations. This beautiful picture is one of our distinctive yards, and we'll talk more about this in a little bit. We actually, John, started in July.
Yes.
It seemed like 12 months, but it was only 6 months, and we've completed 35 evaluations. 12 of those are distinctive, 10 beneficial, and 13 entry. The yard to your left, distinctive level, one of the early ones is Pat Richter's on Harrison Avenue, and she's one of the 3 team members that I have. And I want to thank her for just the incredible work she's done in helping us. The other team member is Rex. Maybe he'll move over. Oh, he doesn't want to be in. He does all the data work that's behind the scenes work, and many of the things that we're going to talk about here. It's the question is, how do you get 35 yards evaluated, identified and evaluated in 6 months? And so John thought it would be useful to share some of the things that we did to get people's yards to evaluate and to expand their knowledge of native plants. So we took a page out of the trifold brochure from Point Pleasant and created one that fit us. That's been very useful. We always focus on grabbing emails, as you know, it's because that gets us information that we can invite people to events and so on. We also added a website September 23rd. And we've had 555 unique visitors since that date. So it's going well. And 105 of them came from a link that Red Bank Green had on an article that they wrote. And this was a journalistic boost, as we call it. It was an outstanding opportunity to really introduce Red Bank to what's going on. And Brian Donahue is very popular Red Bank Green, author and publisher, got a great sense of humor, and I just love his writing, as does many people in Red Bank. His article was Meet Red Bank's Trailblazing No-Mow Gardeners, as you see here, and he highlighted three of our distinctive yards, and had some very nice things to say. He also posted our event on it and gave them a link to our Patchwork for Wildlife. So huge returns on that article. Next one. Okay, we did a couple of things. We tried to camp onto other events that were going on in the area and participate. So we had a table at the Red Bank Green Fair that was sponsored by the Red Bank Environmental Commission. The next one was there was a Parks and Recs garden tour, and it was a really successful. I think there were 9 gardens, and I got onto this bandwagon late, but was able to have a table talk about Patchwork for Wildlife. That happens to be John's back, if you recognize him there. He gave a little presentation, and we got several people requesting evaluations out of that tour. So we were happy to camp on. And thirdly, as John mentioned, I'm on the Red Bank Animal Welfare Committee, and they have an annual event, Dog Days it's called. And so this year we got our own table to promote Patchwork for Wildlife and share information and get more people to sign up for evaluations. Okay, these are events that we hosted, and this couple, Michael Paul Responti and his wife, Jamie, won the Red Bank Garden Tour, and I'm going to talk in a little bit about what they have, but he did 2 hours twice in a day to cover his garden. He didn't think he'd have enough to talk about in 2 hours, but literally he could have talked for 4 hours, and you'll see why in a little bit. We also have really good partnership with the Native Plant Society of New Jersey, Kim Rowe and Joanne Majinski, extremely supportive. She gave a great presentation about Wake Up Your Yard with Native Plants, and even people who were native plant master gardeners and very seasoned gardeners said they learned some new things from Kim. And that was at our senior center here in Red Bank. And I just wanted to point out that there were 17 towns represented at that event. So we really had a good pull with the advertising. And last but not least, our leader, John, did the eco-friendly garden maintenance. And this was at the Shrewsbury Library. And we also got excellent feedback for what he covered with people. Just as he said, a lot of people are learning new things that they can do with that. Okay, now to our yards. Probably some of you are wondering, is she going to cover 35 yards in detail? And I won't be able to do that. So apologies to the homeowners where I won't have time to go through detail, but suffice to say, all of our distinctive yards are worthy of presentation. And I decided I'd just handpick a few, 5 in fact, to talk about what they do, because they're all a little different, just like you showed in your presentations. You have all different ways of doing good things with the yard. This is 118 Bank Street, and this is Brian Donahue's yard. It is total meadow design, a lot of self-sustainable activities, mowed pathways. He's got all sorts of berries. He's a big birder. He's got bird houses and has identified in his yard 63 bird species. Got a snag, pervious walkways, composting, the works. And Brian, at this point, he's 17 years on his yard. At this point, he doesn't have plant things. He's able to let them be self-sustainable with the help of wildlife and birds and so on. Okay, this is 15 Brown Street. This is back to MP Responti and his wife, Jamie. And I had one word for this yard the first time I saw it, and it turned out that Brian Donahue had used exactly the same word in his article. It is an oasis. It is all native, but it's got very interesting pathways that go through the yard. And it's kind of like you're on this amazing tour. There's native plants, there's medicinal plants. They create salves out of some of their plants. They have sustainable practices. They they make tinctures and herbal teas out of some of their plants, and it's all made for what's harvested on site. And Michael P.'s wife has a outdoor nursery in their yard. And so children, it's a daycare, I should say, and the children come and they're able to experience nature and do things outside. They eat the berries off of the tree, off of the bushes. His son wanted to have a fish pond, so they built this fish pond for him to use. And honestly, there's just so much there that I wouldn't have enough time to cover all the things they have, but beautiful, beautiful street. Oh, this is another fun one, 18 Bassett Street. This is Chris Schluter's home. Those other two houses were in progress. Their gardens were in progress for 17 years and 13 years respectively. This is just a 3-year garden, and it's for 3 years. It's amazing what she's been able to do. It's all meadow design, minimal lawn. They have violets for ground cover, lots of berries, wildlife habitat, native trees, living mulch, little or no watering, and she's even got solar panels on her roof. So she has it all. These first 3 yards are on the smaller side, but they are just chock-a-block full of wildlife benefit, and you can see that in the pictures, I think. Okay, now we're going to go to distinctive yards that are of a different type. They're have a more formal kind of component, and all kinds of ways to do good things for the environment. Yards are bigger, so there's a lot more work involved. This is 18 Hubbard, and it's Paolo's, I have its wife's way. Paolo and Lauren are the owners. And they have removed a lot of the non-native plants, and they have used a designer to design it and to select all of the native plants, which go all the way across the front and sides of their front yard and into the backyard. And they were all been planted in September. I believe it's September, at least in the fourth quarter. So these are all basically new plants. It's abundant native plants all over the place, and wonderful native habitat. And he does all those other things that we talked about, pervious walkways and composting and working on the backyard. So if you can one other data point that I think is amazing. They have planted a total of, you ready? 806 native plants, ranging from trees, shrubs, perennials, 53 ferns, 87 grasses. So this is in year 3, this is going to be an amazing yard. And since it's all facing their neighbors and people that go down the street, everybody gets to enjoy this yard. And this is another distinctive yard at 283 Navesink River. So you see we've got the west side, the east side, and across the river, distinctive yards. And this is Carly, and her husband's name is Alexander. Carly and Alexander are a team. They've really done great work, and you can see it's just beautiful, the pervious walkways. They've created paths that are bordered by plants. They've got little sitting areas that you can enjoy this from many different views. 125 varieties of pollinator plants. Again, focusing on the outward facing area. So it's nice that people are looking to show off, if you will, and let other people enjoy the beauty that they have. And this little picture down here, I love the way she created this very abundant brown-eyed Susan area. That place was just buzzing when we were there visiting, and I know John had a good time here too. Okay, a few more distinctive yards that we won't have time to describe in detail, but they are all along the streets, and they're like diamonds in the rough. I call them diamonds in the rough. Beautiful gardens all over different places in Red Bank. And I'll just let you look and see what addresses, streets they're on, and enjoy the view. And we will move to the next one. Now we have beneficial yards, and now this is even more. We have 10 yards here, and all of these people, I have to say, everybody was so welcoming, let us spend time tromping through their yards, asking them questions, and they were so proud of what they had done, and they were all looking to do more. So no one is resting on their laurels in any of these homes. And here's our entry-level yards, and what do we have here? 10 more here. And they're pretty much the way you described your entry-level yards. They're pervious driveways. They've got, a handful of native plants, and that's pretty much it. And we're hoping to see this group and the beneficial group continue to add to that acre of new land in native plants. So in conclusion, I want to thank you, the participating Patchwork homeowners, all 35 of you, and our Patchwork team for this year. And we've got some new members to add to this for next year. I'm very excited about having several distinctive winners be on the team and actually get out and work with us. We've had awesome support from the Red Bank Mayor and the council members, Nancy Facey Blackwood and Laura Janone. The Native Plant Society I already mentioned. I'm sorry I'm talking so fast. And last but not least, the birthday boy. John Gibbons spent all this time with me and us getting through these 35. And John, love you. Happy birthday.
Okay. Okay, you could stop sharing your screen now. Thank you very much, all of you. This is phenomenal. I'm just amazed. Okay.
I don't know how to shop.
Oh, you got one more.
No, we're just trying to stop sharing.
Oh, I see. Oh, well, as long as you two share. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Right. Okay, well, let's see what I'll come back to where I am, okay, and get back onto the slideshow, and I'll just pretty much finish off here with a couple of things, okay? We did that, so thank you very much. There's not much more I can say. It's been a heck of a year. It's been a wonderful year. Now, I could show you the map. Now, can you see this? The patchwork map? Okay. So we've added 2 new towns to the patchwork map. We'll come down and look at Point Pleasant.
No, we can only see the slide, John. I don't see the map.
You can't see the map.
You'll have to
I see
unshare
the
your
slide, it says-
slides and
Okay,
then reshare the map.
okay. Somebody knows what they're talking about. Is that you, Dennis? Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah. Okay, now find the map. Sooner or later, in maybe year 12, we'll figure this out. You got it now? Can you see it?
Yep, it's on my screen now.
Okay, super. Okay, now let's go back. There are the beginning of our patchwork of communities. Okay, we're now 5. So let's go in and look at Point Pleasant. That's a big one here. And the green dots are all new, okay? Then people that have done new stuff. And we put the text is in there, but we haven't done the pictures yet, except for one yard, which happens to be Bill Young's yard. And so here it is, okay? So you can get to see what's going on in the yard. And they were out there evaluating the yard and after we had nice refreshments and everything. And then there's the captions. There's a planted bed, native tree and plants, you see, okay? And then there's this border. And there's this wonderful fa tree thing where all the different shrubs and so on came from. And wait, I can't get this back. Oh, there we go. So anyway, there's that. Now we'll go up to the other, go up north. We'll skip us. We've seen us before. And come up at Red Bank. We're just showing the new people. I don't want to run over time too much. And here's Red Bank. Okay, Mary, we're going to show your house. Okay.
Well, I agree.
Okay, there it is, the beneficial. And then and we've got all the photographs. All this is all populated, so we got all the photographs on this one. But you guys can look for it yourself, okay? You know where to find it. There it is, and this is all being reimagined as we speak, and plants are going in very, very quickly. There's the beautyberry and all those good ones and some winterberry. They put the leaves. There's one I guess she ran down the street and got the leaves back in. That's the result of chasing the landscaper down the street, I guess. There's another one, and you can see when these shrubs get to be full size, it's going to be quite a show. And more butterfly milkweed, and so on. Okay, so that's just a look at. You've seen the slides of the different yards, and here this is it. This is it on the map now. Okay, so we've got the beginning of our patchwork of communities. Okay, now I'll have to come back and stop sharing my screen. Somebody taught me something today. Okay, and share again, and then finish off. God, we'll learn to do this someday. Okay. Now, looking at why one of the things we found out is what's different about the Patchwork for Wildlife, because you can do a lot of programs where you fill out you check a list and you pay $35 and you get a yard sign. But this is the difference with Patchwork for Wildlife. It's a community focus. Okay, we're not spreading everything all over the place, and we count on neighbors and volunteers, and the government can either lead or support. It can work both ways, okay? It's a total environmental approach. It's not a native plant approach or a garden club approach. It's an environmental approach. And see all the environmental commissions on it. I think that's not an accident. And specific measures are described so that people know what they're looking at. So they can't say, oh, that's a nice crepe myrtle over there and a nice burning bush and so on. No. We know what people did. And the extent of the area is defined so we know whether it's a little 10 square foot thing or whether it's a whole acre they did. And that all counts when we're trying to create our acre. And then we distinguish between existing, when we come on the scene, it's already there, and new measures, which are a result of the patchwork. And that's where we score, because that's what we're counting. It's people changing behavior and doing new things, okay? And because we know that going from a conventional yard to an eco-friendly yard can't be sudden. One guy tried it in one of Mary's, and he's doing pretty well. But most of the time, it's a process. So we recognize people at each stage of that process. So that's what we're doing. Okay. Now, looking at I've been looking at the five towns and seeing what happens. It's a bit like those I remember World War II, and it's like when an airplane takes off from a carrier, it gets a lot of speed, but then it's not up to the speed it needs, and it dips a bit, and then it begins to take off, and it ascends. Okay, and so we're on this annual cycle we have now. We do our pilot yards in the fall, and we did that with Point Pleasant, and that worked really well. Okay. Then in the first year, we do the marketing, and you saw what Mary's been doing. Where we're finding and recruiting candidates. So may not get a lot of new area right away. but then we can extend and start adding new yards. And you saw in Lake Como where we're getting upgrades and we're looking for referrals, neighbor to neighbor stuff. And that's when things can start to take off a bit. And then we're more mature in further years where it becomes self-generating. And I didn't do a lot this year, but we've still got more yards coming on board. So yes, it does work. And then with any luck, when we know enough about it, we can introduce others, other towns, and so on. So that's kind of like an overall look at what I'm seeing, the way it's going. So for this coming year, I've just put this out, but I'd like to put it out and see when we get together and see what everybody thinks. We keep the eye on the prize. The prize is to continue to add more eco area. That's what counts. That's where our score is, okay? And we want to expand the sustainable maintenance, and it looks like we got to do it with the landscapers, which is going to be interesting. We want to consolidate our multi-town approach, okay? Because we're still learning. We're still learning with Point Pleasant. And they've had some really good ideas for improving things. And we need to upgrade the Patchwork map and make it more user-friendly and so on, and initiate the Patchwork Cooperative, where we could begin to take advantage of this synergy that we're starting to see. And with any luck and a fair wind, maybe next fall introduce maybe one or two more communities. Okay, so that's a thought of what we might try to do this coming year. So there's a lot of people involved with this, and I didn't put Dr. Weber in and Janice in. I'm sorry, but thank you very much for the people who spoke in the presentation, and Dr. Fouad, who gives us tremendous rates, and he's a great programmer doing the GIS map, and Eric for the data management and for managing us at the tonight. That was really great, Eric. Thank you very much. And for Barry, who's been working on intellectual property and funds, and Elizabeth Ohms, who this year spent an entire year getting Candides up to scratch where we can say it looks like we meant it now. Okay, so thank you very much, Elizabeth. And for the graphics, sparkling graphics, Victoria and Natalie, thank you very much. And the residents, of course, who are doing great things, aren't they? And also the volunteers and animal welfare and environmental commission members who are helping along the way. Thank you very much. This has been I've had a well of a time, so I hope you will enjoy it one way or another. Anyway, that's it, folks. And I'm going to say that's all for the folks, but Bugs Bunny says, but I can't do that. So, Caitlin, would you want to let us know what your thoughts are?
Sure, thank you. I think it's important to point out this is a great day, not just because it's your birthday, John, or because it's the founding of the EPA. But it's also right after Thanksgiving, which I think is a wonderful coincidence because we're at a point right now where we're thinking a lot about our history and not just of the people here, but of the land itself. This land used to be covered in marshes and prairies and great forests, and now it's yards covered in grass and maybe not much else. But here you guys all are tackling the problem 1 acre at a time. So as Diane Velo said, and she's our environmental commissioner, and she chairs our environmental commission here in Belmar, doing an incredible job. And to echo her before, saying thank you matters. And so I'm here to say thank you and congratulations to all of you. Point Pleasant, you've added the 7 yards this year and expanded into commercial areas. Point Pleasant Beach, you too, incorporating businesses, which is such a great idea with 12 more yards. Lake Como, which is the epicenter of this project with the creation of a shade tree commission, finally. Red Bank with 35 more yards, community participation, the events you're doing. And of course, I got to shout out Belmar here because we're recognizing lawns here too. We have our art center doing a show on native species in the spring, which I encourage you guys to all come out and see, and doing other things through the Environmental Commission, like encouraging electric equipment and pervious ground, and doing all sorts of things incorporating with other commissions. So really where I'm going with all of this, to quote Mother Teresa, not all of us can do great things, but we can do small things with great love. And I hate to contradict a saint, but I am Irish Catholic, so I will, which is that I think the small things are also great things. Um, this whole program started with John and now it's expanded to 5 towns, and I have every confidence that it will continue to grow. I know right now we are facing a lot of crises in the world. We said earlier that today is the anniversary of the founding of the EPA, and we have an EPA that is facing critical budget cuts and deregulation. And so, if you're very adamant and ardent about the environment, you could look at that and think it's time to give up. But this is right now the time to keep pushing. So keep doing what you're doing, and contact your local officials and push them, push us, contact your county officials, your state officials, your federal officials. Keep pushing because you are making a difference 1 acre at a time. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Caitlin. It's a pleasure to hear you to speak as always. And we'll really take it to heart and go forward with this. I think that's pretty much it. And thanks everybody for participating in this. And